Hi, I'm Dr. Colby, and today I'm going to teach you about my two favorite chiropractic principles or philosophies, the 33 principles. I like all of them, but the one that stands out or resonates with me the most is number 5, the perfection of the Triune. As life can only be 100%, there must be 100% universal force, 100% innate intelligence, and 100% matter all acting at the same time. Now, of the three, 2 of them must remain at 100% all the time, and that would be universal force and innate intelligence. Matter is, I guess you could call malleable. It's not weak, but it's the weakest of the 3. It's the one that's able to change or not act at 100% while the other 2 can remain. And the reason this one stands out to me, what I'd like to tell you about it, is universal force, no matter what your beliefs are, is something that we can, I would hope, all agree on, that something exists that allows us to exist. Whether that be the force of nature, the force of the universe, the force of a creator, the force of chance and luck, some type of force is what allows all things to exist and vibrate and have their own energy, frequency, and level that they resonate on. That being said, you also have something that's inside of living things called innate intelligence that exists, and that's our nature, our natural instincts, our way of adapting, and our body's way of staying alive without us having to think about it. Your heartbeat, your breathing, all the processes your cells make to create ATP or get rid of waste products, all of that to repair damage automatically without you having to think and tell it to do it. Then you also have matter, and matter is, it's everything, skin, everything. I'm matter right now. I'm made out of molecules that have built upon each other to create levels, and that is matter. And that would be what is breakdownable, I guess is the word I'd use. It's not a real word, but that is what is the weakest, because if universal forces are also laws, and innate intelligence has to act within those laws, and in fact, matter would act within innate intelligence laws from the universal forces laws. And so if universal force becomes too much in a situation that innate intelligence cannot adapt quick enough, you will have a breakdown of matter, because intelligence isn't going to stop. Your body's still going to triage itself and have the intelligence to react in fashion with the universal force. So, the book famously uses a broken bone. If force is too much from the universe acting on that bone, your innate intelligence is going to do all it can to disperse that force throughout until it can't anymore, and that bone, if it's too great, will shatter, and that's the matter that shatters or breaks or fractures. But innate intelligence is still acting automatically to triage what is more valuable versus what's not, and that bone's a lot easier to fix than soft tissue, or if you get a hemorrhage, it's a lot easier to fix, and your innate intelligence automatically knows that. So it's always acting at 100%, which to me is just fascinating and so cool. And the next principle that I like that goes along with this, to me, is number 26, which is comparison of universal and innate forces or intelligences. And that's, in order to carry out a universal cycle of life, universal forces are destructive and innate forces are constructive in regards to structure and existence. And it's not that universal forces are trying to kill us or destroy us or erase us. The universe has its own wave or linear movement of homeostasis, so that the universe is always where it wants to be and needs to be. And since energy cannot be created or destroyed, the universe wants the path that uses the least amount of energy, so that it doesn't have to work as hard to create more energy. Just like all of life, we're like that. And so innate is, like I said, adapting. It adapts to the universe. That's why it's constructive, because it will never do anything to hurt itself. So your body's never going to do anything to hurt itself. If you get hurt, it's because, as I described, the matter couldn't handle the universal force, that the innate intelligence wasn't able to adapt enough. The innate is never going to hurt you, your intelligence. That would be like, that just doesn't make sense for your instincts to hurt you on purpose. If you get hurt, it's because it can't adapt quick enough. And again, it's not like the universe is the universal forces are entity that just wants to destroy you. It just wants the least path of resistance. So if something's not flowing the right way, that's where you get into chiropractic and the spinal cord, the nervous system. That's the universal forces way of communicating with our body, as well as the innate intelligence's way of communicating with the body to adapt and tell all the matter to do this and that. And that's where you get your different systems. If that's impinged or discoordinated with a subluxation, something in the spine, or you can even say a joint, if those nerves aren't communicating at 100%, the innate intelligence is still, it's kind of like a highway. If you have a bunch of straight lanes on a highway, there's an accident on one of them, there's a detour that will open up, they'll get you around. It just takes a lot longer, and it creates problems elsewhere on the road. Just in your body, the same thing. If everything's flowing perfectly and you get a subluxation in your spinal cord, and it's just even slightly tweaking that nervous system, that nerve, it can't communicate perfectly, still at 100%, but perfectly in a straight, easy line to where it's going. And now maybe it's going over here, but then that might be causing a problem on this nerve over here. So then you have an issue over here and here, and that's where you get your symptoms, not a disease of, it's not a disease of symptoms. The symptoms are a cry for help. And that, as a chiropractor, is my job to find that and help it so that the universe won't destroy it, because the innate intelligence can only do this for so long before it gets tired, and it's still going to go to 100%, but it's again going to triage itself and say, okay, well, is what's not getting 100, getting perfect communication over here and causing an issue, is that more or less valuable than what's causing an issue over here, which then those symptoms can cause an issue over here. So maybe at the end of the road, it's going to affect my heart, and my body's not going to do that with the innate intelligence. So it will give up part of my, let's say my part of my liver isn't getting communicated with in the beginning because of a subluxation here. And that in turn will cause a problem in part of my intestine. And at the end of the day, maybe that creates a problem for the heart, which is going to pump all of it. Well, my body will say, okay, well then let's just start to kind of shut parts of this down so that the universe can get rid of it and keep going into its homeostasis and make our job a little bit easier, even though I'm still at 100%. I don't like this idea, but this might be more valuable. And those were just silly examples. I'm just naming off the first things that pop into my head of how it works in a very simple manner. And that to me is just, it's still just amazing to me. And you look at an animal in the wild and they get injured, the animal will chew its own foot off if it has to, because its own instincts are saying, well, this foot's less valuable than our entire being in existence, so let's get rid of it because it doesn't work or it's trapped in a trap. And that way we'll be okay. But then down the road, again, universal forces are going to be still pumping through in all of existence. And if that animal can't keep up, or it keeps bleeding, or an infection happens because it's weaker, the universe is going to say, we're going to have to destroy you because you're eating up energy and you're not going to last. You're not constructive to my homeostasis, so now I'm going to destroy you destructively. And the innate intelligence, again, is going to act at 100% until it can't anymore. And innate intelligence does have a limit within the universe. And I really hope this kind of clarifies it up. This is just, those philosophies for me are amazing. The empath in me and all the universal vibrations, energy, frequencies, wavelengths, they all line up. We're all one. We're all in a system of roots like a tree, or frequencies all mixed into one and making this beautiful color rainbow. You don't have to have any type of belief to at least understand that something exists that allows us to exist. There's something greater than everything that exists, because something had to exist to allow existence. It doesn't have to be spiritual or a deity or a big bang or anything, just something, even if it's just happenstance and luck, luck could be what you call existence. Some existence allows all this existence, and those two principles for me are what stand out because of the big picture in my head. And I just really wanted to share that with you, and I hope that that doesn't scare you off and make me a weird chiropractor, but I would love to be a doctor that helps keep those universal forces from destroying you faster than they must be, because it's impossible to keep innate intelligence up forever. We all get old and wear down, so even if you're at perfect health, the innate intelligence will eventually run itself out of energy. And it does mess up even that one time. So if you're 99 years old and it has that one little mess up, and that's just the last factor because the universe has been pushing on you for 99 years, and that's when you start to break down and die, no matter how perfect you are. So yes, we all will eventually break down and die, but I would love to keep you flowing and your matter and innate intelligence at 100% perfection for as long as I can, so that the universe can't have an effect on you for as long as you can exist and you can live happy, healthy, and wellness and optimal being. And I appreciate your listening to me. Thank you.